She speaks English a lot better than I do. I think people understand what she's saying.
Too many good docs are getting out of business. Too many OBGYNs aren't able to practice their love with women all across this country.
To answer your question, what Texas ought to do is determine what the mission is at the state perspective. I think that the mission in education ought to be excellence in literature, math, science, and social science. If school districts want to enrich beyond that, more power to them. But at the state perspective, we ought to hone in on 4 subject matters and see if we can do it right. I think tide turning, as I remember, I was raised in the desert, but tides kind of turn. It's easy to see a tide turn. Did I say those words? No question that the enemy has tried to spread sectarian violence. They use violence as a tool. We ought to determine the cost per pupil necessary to achieve excellence in the classroom, and we ought to fund it. The funding priority of the state of Texas ought to be the school children of our state, and it has not been under the past 4 years. That we're going to have a draft. You're working hard to put food on your family.
I know the human being and fish can coexist peacefully.
Juvenile justice plan in a minute and a half is a hard task. I will try to do so. The core of crime in Texas is the juvenile justice problem. I think we ought to try 14-year-olds as adults, down to 14 years old as adults, to help our gang task force members fight crime. I know we need to expand the determinate sentencing statutes in the state of Texas. We need to have boot camps, reform schools, and detention centers. We should expand the Texas Youth Commission by 1,500 beds. We ought to unseal juvenile records so that teachers, educators, and law enforcement officials know full well who they're dealing with. We need to say to our children, we love you. But we understand in Texas that discipline and love go hand in hand. Underestimated the compassion of our country. I think they misunderestimated the will and determination of the Commander-in-Chief, too.